Welcome back, Hive Mind. This is Shalazar with Hive Mind Gaming. We're taking a first look at Star Trek Timelines by Tilting Point. Now, I've been playing this game for years. This is the first time I've ever done a video on it. So we're going to take a first look at it. So what we have is in this corner we have all you got your avatar. That's where you deal with your settings. You're going to have your offers in this corner. You have your main resources up here. There's a few more, but your main ones are dilithium. This is your, like most gacha games, your in-game currency. That's going to allow you to buy extra stuff and to basically it's the currency that they want you to buy. They want you to spend real money so that you can increase your account faster than the guy sitting next to you that's not spending money. All right, and then you've got your energy, like all gacha games, you've got energy to do stuff, and then you've got your silver or credits, however you want to put it, that you get in most games as well. So it's a very pretty game. It has lots of different aspects that you can change out your ships. It means absolutely nothing. It's just for aesthetics purposes when it comes to this. But it's also whatever ship you have here is also what you use when you go into campaign. There is a very large campaign that will get you lots of stuff. There is, we'll come back to that. This is also an area that has, oh, that's where your settings are. Your inventory, your friends, your messaging, which is your mailbox, things like that. Your list of ships, your list of crew. You can actually freeze your crew, which is very annoying in the beginning of the game because well, back when I first started, it didn't really explain it very good, so that didn't help. And then, of course, you've got all your messages, and then you have your missions, your daily missions. You got campaign that you get cool stuff while you're doing the things that you would normally do. You pay extra to get extra stuff, which will get you a free epic and a free legendary. They do have achievements in the game. Not a lot, but some. And then you've got crew. Crew have 6 different main skills. You've got your main stat, and then you've got a randomary stat. Randomary, is that even a word? You have to grind out for gear. You have to build the gear, unless it's a situation like this guy has where it's just a piece of gear is all he need. One single piece of gear. He doesn't actually need to build it. So that's the difference between the wrench that showed there. That means you have to build the gear, compared to the plus sign, which means that it's just a solid piece of gear that you can build or that you can equip. And then you level them up and then you train them. So you have to get all the gear. You got to get all 4 pieces of gear before you can rank him up. And then once you do that, he's still only level 30. So I have to spend training modules or training holograms to actually level him up to get him to the next level. So now he's level 40 at 40. All right, then we've got, you go into this area, it shows his stats, his bonus stats from guild bonuses and from collection bonuses. It shows the actual traits that this guy has. And that matters when you're doing missions and stuff. You get bonuses depending on the traits. And then when you're in ship combat, you use this. Everyone has a ship ability, and that's what that is. All right. And that's pretty much it. And then, of course, the characters, they have a fusion system when it comes to upgrading your characters. Every time you get a character, it's only going to be 1 star. It's either going to be a common 1 star, uncommon 2 star, rare 3 star, epic 4 star, or legendaries are 5 stars. But when you get 1 copy of it, it's always going to have one of For instance, he's an epic, so 1 of 4, where a legendary is going to be 1 of 5. And then once you get a second copy of that character, then you fuse them together and they become a 2 star of 4 stars, or 3 of 4, or 5 of 4, or 4 of 5, sorry, etc. So it's a different way. I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, it's very similar to a lot of ways that that gotcha games work, fusions work. So it works similar to that. Then you've got your guild, but they call them, instead of guilds in this, they're called fleets. One thing that's cool about the fleets is you've got squadrons within those fleets. So when they have events and tournaments, your squadron, depending on how good the individual players of your squadron do, your squadron, everyone in your squadron gets extra stuff. So it's not necessarily based on your guild has to do really good, or your, not your guild, but your fleet has to do really good. It's your squadron has to do really good. So if you've got, you've got a fleet full of friends, but most of them are casual players, but you've got, 5 guys out of the group of friends that are hardcore, competitive, they can still do that and still be a part of the same fleet, which is kind of neat. And then you've got scans, which don't really do much. It just basically gives you, every 3 hours, it gives you a free item, basically, is what it does. There is an Easter egg in the scans, which we can go over at some other point if need be. Then there's missions, which these are the faction missions. So there are several factions, as you can see in the game, and each faction has different missions. It's kind of neat because when you pull it up, it actually gives you a quick briefing of what the mission is, shows you what you can actually get from that mission, and then you send a guy along on the mission. You can boost his chances to getting whatever it is, so he gets a bonus for diplomacy. So if we put that on there, it pops it up to 83, and then we can send him on his way for the mission. So kind of neat how that works too. It's just extra free stuff. It does lock those crewmen up for 3 hours, but it is something neat to do to get extra gear. The cadet challenges, same way. Depending on the day, every day there's a different cadet challenge, and they will be the same. Every single Sunday, this will be the same. Every Monday, this will be the same challenge, etc. And the reason these are green, because you can only use green, which are uncommon characters, or crewmen, for these missions. These are blue because you can only use rare for those. Alright. Then you've got the arena, which is one of 2 ways of PvP, player versus player. Basically, the bottom, or the commander division, is for 2 and 3 star ships. The captain division is for 4-star ships, and admiral division is for 5-star ships. Cool thing about this is you can have a ship in each single one. It does not matter. Each one is absolutely individual. So very competitive too. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've been rank 1 for seconds. Literal seconds. And then taken right out. Literally have to take screenshots to show people that you made it. Alright. The next thing is the Gauntlet, which is the second and only other PvP in the game. Okay. Questionable how much I like this game. Like the Gauntlet. So you choose 5 crew from your roster to join the Gauntlet, and then it ranks you with 100 different players. And I'm not sure how they do the ranking, but it's just bad. It's just bad. And then you hit find opponents, and it tells you what rank your opponents are in this Gauntlet that you're fighting in. Tells you what rank they are, and then it shows you a character from that person's rank. And then it tells you how many points you get for beating that person or that character. So if I go in here and I go, okay, well I can let's see. His is anywhere from 249 to 628. Let's go with this one. He's got a 25% chance to crit, but I should completely beat him. But RNG in the gauntlet is ridiculous. I mean, complete like this. I had a 5% chance to crit, and I critted. He had 25% chance out of 3. There was a really good chance that he should have crit at least one of those, and he didn't. Not that he still would have won, but it's just the RNG in this game is pretty bad. So I went up. I went up a few points. He went down a few points. And that's basically how that works. You go through and you try to constantly beat people down to get them lower on the scale than you. And as you can tell, when you use someone, they get a little triangle with a number, and it goes their numbers go down based on that number. Now, how the crit rate works. Showed you their traits. This is one place where their traits come in handy. If they're getting bonuses to a trait, he's got one trait for this gauntlet, and it's set at the beginning when you pick your guys, and you know ahead of time. So now my guy lost, so now he is disabled, and he will be disabled for several hours if I'm not mistaken. Or I can pay 50 dilithium up here to restore him to fresh, and I keep my win streak. So you lose your win streak when you lose a battle. So that's where it's a kind of a pay to win, because I keep my win streak. I keep my yeah. I still lose my points. So don't get me wrong. It's not. I don't. I'm still going to lose my points. I'm just not going to lose everything else, and I can actually still fight with him, and he's fully healed. So if I had like a triangle with 3 on it, because I've already fought 3 battles, and I paid the dilithium to refresh him, then he's now fresh, fully, ready to fight. All right, so again, complete RNG. I'm just a little bit higher because I have better guild, either a better guild or more in the collections, but he still won. All right, so yeah, so that's I hate the RNG. There's other than picking your team, there's really no real skill to this to the gauntlet. All right, so let's move on. You've got your store, your typical store. You've got 4 tabs. You've got the crew tab. This is where you're going to buy all your packs. At some point, I'll do a video showing these packs. Dabo wheel. Other than buying, it's 5,000 to do your first one. Other than that, I wouldn't spend a dime on it, like dilithium. When I first started, please learn from my mistake. When I first started, I kept spending dilithium because I wanted the things in the top row. I've only gotten the things in the top row twice. Once by happenstance about a couple of months ago, and I've been playing ever since beta. So, yeah, that's how long I've been playing. And at one point when I first started, I spent dilithium to get something in the top row, and I literally hit every single one of the ones in the bottom and second row before I got a single one out of the top row. So don't do it. Don't do it. Don't waste your dilithium. Learn from my mistakes. Honor Hall, it's another resource that they have. It's the only place you can get these 4 crewmen. The honorable citations, you can use these in place of crewmen when trying to fuse someone. So to get him from a 1-star uncommon to a 2-star uncommon. You can either buy 2 of those for 15,000, or you can come over here and buy 1 for 15,000 and then buy the second one with only 500. You have to have the first one before you can use one of these to get them. So the legendary behold will actually get you 10 pulls from the basic rewards. So it will give you this one. This one's a 10 pull. This one's a single pull. So it'll give you one of the 10 pulls. The super rare behold will give you a single pull. So these, the dynamic officer training and the advanced tactical training, are used to level your guys once you build all their equipment and level them up and get them fully equipped. Then you actually use the training to level them. And then last but not least, the replicator rations. You can there's actually a place where you can, if you can't find an item for someone, or you can't farm it, or if it's just too expensive to farm or too expensive to find, whatever the reason, if you haven't made it to that level yet to get that piece of gear, you can use a replicator to build it. There are restrictions and there are special rules, but there is a replicator in the game, which is kind of neat. Alright, and then you've got your boost and kits. That's going to help. That's going to allow you to boost all your stuff that you're doing. And then, of course, you got your dilithium. Alright, last but not least, we said we would come back to it, mainly because it's on its way back, so can't hardly see what's going on. So this is the Voyages. This is the last real content that they've put in the game, and it's been in the game for this has been in the game for, wow, probably a year or so. If anyone knows the answer to that, put it in the comments. I mean, don't get me wrong. Every week they put out anywhere from 1 to 3 new crewmen. 1 to 3 per week. So they're putting out stuff. It's just not real content. I mean, we have crewmen. Are the new crewmen you're putting out doing anything more or special than the person you put out before? Other than the typical power creep. Are they doing anything different? No, they're the exact same. They just have their skills and abilities. All that is different, but none of them are unique. They're all abilities and skills and things they have that someone else has already. So no, it's nothing different. It's not new content. This was new content. This has been out for quite a while. Where's our new content? Alright, so anyway, so it's basically, it's kind of neat how it works. You put your 12 guys in, it adds up all of their stats together. I mean, literally adds them all together. And then they go on away missions, and this is your captain's log, basically. It tells you the star date and tells you what it is, and it's kind of neat to go back, and you can actually go back and read all this stuff. So when you do stuff, it takes in consideration these stats. So when it does it and you actually do it right, then based off of these stats, then you get stuff. And this is all the stuff that this voyage received. So this is where I'm sure some of you are wowing over the fact that I have so much energy. It's because of stuff like this. I mean, that's literally how much I have for my max. That's like my max energy right there. So, anyway, so you get crew. Every now and then you get lucky and get some special crew. There are special crew in Voyages that you can only get through Voyages. So you have to. So I think it's every 2 hours. Yeah, every 2 hours, a special alert pops up on your screen. Like the voyage stops, it doesn't continue running, it just stops, and it has a big triangle with exclamation point on it, and you got to click on it, and then it says, "This is what's happening," and you have to answer it. And then that's when, if you answer it correctly, you can get good stuff from it. And there are certain ones that if you answer correctly, it will lead to another quest. And if by it, unfortunately, it's completely random. If you get the next step in this same voyage, and you answer that correctly, you could get like a free guy, like a special crewman that you can only get through Voyages. So kind of neat. I dig it. It was always frustrating when it first started because it took so long, but it's a time sink and it's just something extra, but it was still worth having new content over. It was kind of confusing at first. Since then, they've put out a pretty good guide for it, which wasn't available when it first came out. And so once you get to a point where you don't have a lot of antimatter, which this is what happened. Oh, yeah. So when you're speaking of which, so I was saying when you do something right, you get cool rewards. Well, if you do something wrong and you screw up on it, you lose 30 antimatter. Once this gets down to 0 antimatter, the voyage is over, it locks it up, and you fail. So all this stuff you lose. Now you can pay dilithium to refresh it, and it gives you like so much antimatter. Basically, you're buying antimatter. So at that point, you can let it run again until you hit the 2 hour mark, because you only want it to run the 2 hour mark, and then you want to bring it back home. And then bringing it back home, the time that it takes to get back home depends on how long you were out. So, other than that, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I mean, it is a pretty game. It's kind of neat. There are some cool voiceovers if you have the music and the sound up. There's some cool voiceovers, but once you've heard it a few times, you're just done. Other than that, all in all, it's a pretty fun game. But once you get to endgame, there's really nothing to do, which is probably why I have so much energy and so many credits, cause I just don't. It's just nothing that I care to do. The events are kind of fun sometimes, depending on the event. There are several different events that they switch through. And then they sometimes have a mega event where you get a free, if you play in it, you get a free legendary, a special legendary. But yeah, so there's lots of stuff you can possibly do. If you want to see more of these videos, please like and subscribe, and that'll let me know that you want to see more comments or more videos on Star Trek timelines. And other than that, I appreciate every single one of you. You guys have a wonderful day. We'll see you next time. Bye.